Yeah, I'm the one that got the scene banging, and I go hard, that's why they keep talking. 3 years and I'm only just getting started.
Oh, my smile looks so pretty. Girl, why would it not? Hi guys, what's up? So today I'm gonna sit down and do a makeup video, and I'm just gonna talk about life, what's been on my mind, what's been going on with me, my thought process. I'm gonna talk about post-grad, passion versus practicality. I'm gonna talk about all of that. So yeah, I'm not gonna do too much talking. I'm gonna get into the video right now. If you're interested in hearing me run my mouth and talk about what's going on in my mind and talk about some things that's relatable, stay tuned. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, please. Turn on your post notifications, leave a comment down below, and yeah, let's get into it. I gotta moisturize my lips first because they're dry. Damn, my lip balm all stuck together. I'm just gonna have to do. Okay, so there's no specific makeup look or anything I'm doing. I'm just, like I said, gonna run my mouth. So I don't know what has came over me, but for the last like couple of days, like since the new year, I would say, I have been super focused on my career. And what I mean by that is I've been out of school for about 2 years, and when I left school I had an internship and all of those things, and I graduated college a year early, so I wanted to give myself a rest. But during my time in college, I got to figure out how creative I was. And I've always been a person who is practical. I come from a pretty practical family. Like my mom and stuff like that wasn't letting me go to school for no like art and stuff like that. Not that there's anything wrong, but it was always like stressed, like get a good job, you know, go to school, get a degree, do those things, like, you know, try to give yourself a better life than what you had, right? I don't come from money. I'm not like super rich. I'm not a trust fund baby or anything. No matter how my life looks like, I'm not a trust fund baby or super duper rich or millionaire parents. I don't come from that. So that was always my thing. Like I wanted to be rich, and I've always been focused like on money since I was young. Like, you know, money has always been a very important thing. It has always been a very important thing. Like my family is New Yorkers. We're New Yorkers, so it's all about getting money, right? However you get and getting money. So it's always been a thing since I was a kid to like just get money. So I never growing up, like I wasn't a kid that was like into the arts, or I wasn't a kid that was like into drawing, painting, stuff like that. So I didn't figure out how creative I was until I got into college. And even in college, I did not get to pursue my creative passions like that because I was so focused on school. Like when I was in college, I was taking 7 classes minimum, like 6 classes minimum, 7 credits. I mean 7 classes max, depending on the credits, right? Like I always took 6 credits, 6 classes or more. And if you're in college, you know how hard that is. I graduated college a year early, like throughout the pandemic too, like, and I was not playing. Got all A's. One semester I got straight A+, like I got nothing less than a 95, right? Like academics has always been very important to me because I always felt like it was going to set me free, right? Like go to school, get a good job, right? Like there wasn't many well, with that being said, like there wasn't a lot of like emphasis on like entrepreneurship. I'm sorry if y'all can hear the noise, it's my neighbors, but I'm in the living room because I love the lighting in here. I love the big windows. But yeah, like entrepreneurship wasn't something that was like enforced, or like being creative. I remember growing up, I've always been into photography. I've always like wanted to start a YouTube channel when I was of age, like when I got to the right age to do so. Like I would make like little mock videos growing up and just save them, and I was like 12, 13 years old. And that was always like a thing that I just was like into, right? I hope I'm not butchering my brows talking so much, but that's something that I was just kind of like always into, like stuff like that. However, I did not have the room to pursue those things because, like I said, I was always thinking about practicality. Like, girl, you got to go to school, get a job, get a career, and that's just it, right? Like, but when I got to college, I got to really get into YouTube, at least my first year, because the pandemic hit. So I had a lot of time at home, in the house, bored, school is online. So I got time to get into YouTube. I learned how to edit. I learned how to make my own intros better. Like, I was heavily into YouTube. And I was 18. So I was like, ooh, okay. Right? So but I still knew, like, I'm going to bust my ass through college. So I didn't get to dedicate as much time as I would like to certain things because I was always thinking about that. Like, girl, you got college comes first, school comes first, you got to work on your academics first. Like, girl, everything else comes second, right? So I never had time to fully dive into my creativity until I got to the end of college. That's when you guys saw me making more junk cases. I learned how to do my makeup. I took more time to focus on other things because, one, I was finally finished with fucking school. I've been in school since I was in freaking pre-K. So I was finally finished with school. And I literally killed myself in school to, like I said, taking no less than 6 courses because I wanted to graduate. I was like, I want to graduate. I want to get out of here. And even when I graduated, I was still thinking about, like, okay, so what am I going to do next? I've always been that person where that's always just been my thing. Like, so what am I going to do next? What's next? What's the next step? Like, what am I going to do? It's not just sitting around. So even then, I was still studying to go to law school. I was applying to grad schools, writing essays. I was still working on my internship. Like, I've always been doing something, right? So I never got to throw myself into creative pursuits. And I just got to a point where it's like, how do you want to spend your life? Like, do you want to be at an office or for the rest of your life? Or do you want to be creative? And something I realized about myself is I'm very creative. But like I said, I did not pursue that when I was a kid because I was always focused on school. And even in college, I was always focused on school and practicality. And passion doesn't pay the bills, right? Let's be real here. And I see a lot of people, and I watch a lot of people like post videos on YouTube and blow up. And I used to be like, damn, I can't wait till the day I blow up. I can't wait till the day I blow up. However, I can't also sit around and just wait like, oh, maybe one day I'll blow up and I'm just going to sit around and wait and I'm just going to keep putting videos out because who's to say? Like, I have no say in if my video blows up or not. I have no say if my video gets 1 million views. Like, I have no say. No matter how good I edit, no matter how good my thumbnails is, it's no say that people will watch me. This is why I really appreciate my viewers because y'all don't have to watch me, right? So with that being said, right, I stayed my ass in school. Like, even though in my mind I was so like, oh, like, I just want to pursue YouTube. I just want to see the possibility YouTube give me. I love to be creative. Like, I love when I'm in front of this camera. I've said this in some of my videos before. Like, I love when I get in front of this camera because I feel alive. But I've also always thought about, like, girl, you need a job, you need a career. So you can't just, you know how people will like always talk about like art majors and stuff like that, and I will always just be like, that seems so cool though, right? Because people always say to do what you're passionate about, but sometimes your passion don't pay the bills, and you can't just sit around. At least for me, that makes me go crazy. Like, I can't just sit around depending on my passion to blow up and not have nothing for myself. Like, that would just make me go crazy because when my money is not right or stuff is not right, I'm not a person that's just like, oh, just give it to God. Like, girl, no. Like, I have goals, I have dreams, I have desires, I have a lifestyle I want. Like, I can't just keep sitting around praying that my passion works, right? So that's what made me really stay my ass in school and thrive in school. Like, you gotta focus on your academics. Even now, even like I said, after college, like graduating early, like I still was focused on our academics, taking tests, making sure, like, seeing if, you know, what is my, like, what career am I gonna have. I still was not focusing on my passions like that because it was always in the back of my mind, like, girl, you gotta make it. Like, you know how foreign parents have the mindset of lawyer, doctor, engineer? That was me. Like, that's kind of how I was. Like, it was like I was going to school for law or doctor, and I wasn't going to be a doctor. So my initial goal was to go to law school, and then I saw the price tag on law school, and I said, whoa, right? Like, you barely wanted to get through undergrad are you gonna want to pay this price and dedicate all your time to just law school like that? And I realized that, like, oh, I have a passion for criminal justice still. However, I just realized that I just did not want to go to law school, like, at least not yet, right? I had beat myself to the ground in undergrad, like I said, literally stressed myself out. So I was like, girl, okay, let's figure this out. Like, what are we gonna do? And like I said, I got to see how creative I was during undergrad. Like, wow. But my creativity is not paying my bills. My creativity is not enough. Like, I'm not making enough money to sustain a lifestyle just yet. I'm not saying that my YouTube is gonna not take off. I hope that it does, and I do, you know, hope I blow up one day. But I also have to be practical. I'm sorry, like, I just can't be one of those people that's just wishing on a hope and a prayer and a star, like, oh my God. Oh, damn, I got makeup all over this. Like, I just can't be one of those people. Hold on, give me a second. I got makeup all over my hand. Like, I can't be one of those people that's just like sitting there waiting and praying on a star. I'm sorry. Wishing and praying on a star that, like, oh, you know, like, okay, today's the day I'm gonna make it. Today's the day. Like, girl, no, I need a job. Like, I've always thought about that. Like, I've always thought about getting money. Like, that's always been my thing. Like, I need to get money, right? And I want to get money as fast as I possibly can, but I don't want to cause any harm to any, right? That was always, like, my mentality. So, but I'm also so creative, and I realized that, like, yo, I come alive in front of the camera. I love to be in the camera. I love to talk to this camera. And I've always kind of liked to take pictures ever since I was high school. Like, that was me every day. I was just so cute for school to take pictures. Like, that was my thing. Like, oh my God, I want to take pictures. Like, I've always been that girl. Like, I just love social media, and not necessarily to, like, be super social, but more so because I just like stuff like that. Like, I've always liked photography, like I said. But growing up, my mother was like, absolutely. I remember telling her that in like 7th grade, like, I want to go to school for photography. My mom said, absolutely not. Like, I'm not paying for that shit. Like, that was straight her words. Like, I'm not paying for that shit. Just like that. So I put those, like, creative passions to the side because that's just how I felt. Like, girl, you got to be practical. Like, you need, you know, you have to sustain a lifestyle. And I'm not a person that just feels comfortable. Like, don't get me wrong, I've always been spoiled, but I've just never felt comfortable with just, like, solely dependent on people. Even as a teenager, like, I always wanted a job, and I would always apply and not get a call back. I don't know, but I always was still doing something, whether it was volunteer hours, like going with my mom to her job and shadowing her, and volunteer hours, or like doing like little freelance, like cleaning. I cleaned the house and stuff like that. That was like, I was like 15, 16, and I cleaned the house, like cleaned the whole entire house, but like, and got paid for it, but with me and my family. So I've always just been that person where money has always been like a driving factor. And I think that just always had been a thing. And I've just always thought about it, like, what am I gonna do next? I need to make money, I need a career, I need to do this, I need to do that. But I feel like I don't give myself enough grace, because I think about practicality. Like, girl, you need to get it together. I just turned 23, and I just feel like you need to get it together. Like, I feel like I should be a millionaire by now. Like, I thought like I was gonna blow up on YouTube, all that stuff, and I'm just one of those people, like, you know how people be like, don't do it for the money, do it for the passion. Passion don't pay the bills, babe. People need money. People need an income. And don't get me wrong. Oh, this foundation is too dark for me. My skin is lighting up. Hold on, let me... Yeah, this foundation is too dark. This is definitely a summer color. And that's just always how I have been, and that's kind of been engraved into my skull. Like, girl, you got to get a job, you got to get a career. But I do want to give myself time to be creative, because I realize, like, I'm really good at things. You guys see, I can style outfits really well, but I knew, like, girl, I could never go to school for no fashion and stuff like that. Even if I wanted to, like, girl, hell no. Like, my mother was never going to pay for that. She was never going to, like, co-sign for that. And I'm like, girl, well, how the hell am I gonna get the money to pay for college? Like, you know. So, and I was always told, like, you don't go to school for stuff that you don't need to go to school for. Like, you don't need to go to school to be a stylist. You don't need to go to school to work in fashion. Like, you don't necessarily need to go to school for that, but you needed to go to school to be a lawyer, which I thought which was my goal when I set out to go to college. You need, even now, like, with me being in school for forensic psychology, you still need a degree for that. Like, to be a social worker, you need a degree for that, right? To be a correctional counselor and work in the correctional facilities and with the inmates, you need a degree for that. You need a degree. So that was always my thing. Like, I need something to fall back on. I need a degree, and I can't just sit around and hope and pray like, today's the day my YouTube channel blows up. Like, girl, no. Like, that's nice, but no. And I don't, like I said, I don't come from money. So if you come from a family from money and like you're super duper stable, then yeah, you can pursue stuff like that. Girl, I ain't come for that. Like, you know, money and opportunity was not to be wasted in my household. Like, that just wasn't what it was. So that's just what it was with me. Like, yo, you gotta get out here and get a job and get a career and get like pension and get benefits and stuff. However, one, the job market is trash today right now, and I've heard so many people say that, like, post-grad or just in general, like, finding a job is just super duper hard right now. And I'll get callbacks, but they'll be like, we want you to do this and the third for like $20 an hour. Like, girl, what? Or, oh, it's only, or they'll be like, oh yeah, it's only part-time, or like, it's temporary, you're not gonna have this job forever. Like, this job is very much up in the air. Like, we don't know if you're gonna come back. Like, the longest this is gonna last is a year, and after that we don't know if you'll have a job, if we'll have funding, because I want to work like in a homeless shelters or like a halfway house with people who are offenders. Like, I went to school for criminal justice. I love the court system. I love stuff like that. Like, it's so interesting to me. I love like the family dynamics. I just love stuff like that. It's so interesting to me. I don't know. And I know people go to school for like engineering and stuff, and I was looking up majors for that, and I was just like, I can't do this. Like, I cannot be a science major. I knew that that's the whole reason I did not pursue medicine, because I just don't like science. I don't like, I remember I took a class called spreadsheet modeling, and it was like Excel, and it was all about Excel and stuff like that, and I damn near died. I got an A+ in that class, don't get me wrong. I got like 100 perfect score in that class. However, I damn near died, and I had to dedicate 5 hours, 6 hours to one assignment out of like 8 for that class. And I was taking like 7 classes. Like, I had a credit overload. I was maxing out on credits. Because, and I realized that, and I also had to take a science class as a requirement. And I remember just being like, oh God. So when it came to like science and stuff like that, I knew like, oh girl, no. So I knew I could not get one of those tech jobs or something like that, because baby, I don't know. But I did pick a field that was pretty lucrative, and I do get job offers and stuff like that, but it's more so like, do I want to sit behind a cubicle for the rest of my life? And it's like, I'm so creative, and you know, I don't want to look back and regret. That's why I made sure I stayed in school. I don't want to look back and regret and be like, oh my God, girl, you could have been in the fashion world, or not in the fashion, but you could have been an influencer. You could have been on brand trips. You could have had brand deals. You could have been, even if I don't get brand deals, you have a lot of knowledge to give. You are really good at makeup, right? I'm really good at making junk cases. I think my editing for my videos are pretty good. Like, you have a lot of talent. You have a lot of creative skills that you can use, and I don't want to just get rid of my dreams and my true passions because, you know, of practicality, like, and then I'm just miserable every day, like, of my life. But I also don't want to be broke and just depend on one thing, like, you know, because YouTube could go away tomorrow. You guys see how they're trying to ban TikTok. And what happens when I have a slow month? What happens when, if I fall off? There's a lot of YouTubers that talk about that, like them falling off, and they had to go back and get a job, or they got into other fields because there's no guarantee, you know. And I think that's one thing about being an entrepreneur, is that there's no guarantee, meaning the money, the sky's the limit, right? But it's also times when you're gonna have those dry months, and I feel like a lot of people don't talk about that. Like, and that's what also made me stay my ass in school. Like, okay, so what happens when you have a dry month? What happens when, you know, excuse me, what happens when the views ain't viewing, right? Like, what happens then? So that was always like a thought in my mind, like, so what happens? Like, what happens when stuff like that happen? Like, what's your plan B? So, and I know people always say don't have a plan B unless you expect plan A to fail. Baby, I can't just depend on one thing. Like, I just cannot set myself up for failure. I cannot put all my eggs in one basket. My mother used to always tell me that growing up, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket, like with anything. Because I feel like a lot of times people want to be optimistic, but it's like you got to be realistic in this world. People will put your ass out. You can't just depend on people. You can't just put your finances and your livelihood. What is this from? Oh, you cannot put your finances and your livelihood in the hands of somebody else, right? Like, you can't just depend on that. Like, because when you are dependent on somebody, right? Say you are struggling and you're struggling to get your business off the ground. You can't depend that people are going to look out for you, or you can't depend that, like, you can't depend. Oh, okay, perfect. Then let it fall on the thing. You know, like, you can't just depend on that, babe. Oh no, let me do it. So I just never wanted to sit around and just like depend on people and not have a pot to piss in or a window to throw out of. Like, girl, I don't want to. Like, I feel like at 23, I feel like I'm failing. Like, girl, you should have been a millionaire by now. And I do think that's also because of social media, right? That has me feeling like that. But, because it's like, girl, you're freshly 23. You haven't even been 23 5 months, 4 months yet. Like, relax. But I've been like that since I was like 20. Like, girl, you have to make it. This is the year you're gonna make it. This is the year you're gonna make it. Like, you have to make it. And I've been very like hard on myself. Like, even in school, like, I did not play with myself. Like, get up, go to school. Like, it's times where I would stay up. Like, I have to stay up. I don't care. Like, I'm going to like I did not care. Like, I'm going to thrive. Like, that's just always been my thing. Like, I cannot just sit around and depend on people. Like, I'm gonna find a way to get me some money. I'm gonna find a way to do something. Like, I cannot, you know, just sit around. This side look like I don't got nothing on. Like, I just can't sit around. Like, I can't just sit around and depend on people. Or, dang, I hope whoever is okay. Sheesh. It's so sad living on a main block, because you see like the ambulance and the firefighters constantly going down the street, and you know what that means. Like, somebody's house is burning down or something. That's so unfortunate. Like, it's such a sad thing. Anyway, back to what I was saying. But I just feel like I can't do that. Like, right? And that's just not how I was raised. Like, passion, like, girl, no. Like, you need money. Bills is gonna come every month. You cannot just sit around and depend on that. And my mom has been kind of lenient about it. Like, baby, like, oh no, what the fuck was that? Hold on. You know, my mom has been like that. Like, you know, like, take your time, babe. Like, you bust your ass through college, take your time. But I just don't want to take my time. Like, I am a little impatient and impulsive. Like I said, like, I've always been a person who has to thrive. Like, I cannot sit around. Like, I have to see some type of success. And don't get me wrong, my YouTube has been growing over the years. But I will say it definitely has taken longer than I wanted to. And I've watched people be like, I've blown up in freaking 3 weeks, or you're going to do this. I do not like this powder whatsoever. I don't like how this powder is looking on me. Give me a second. I'm so busy running my mouth. I gotta make sure this makeup don't look crazy. And I've been that type of person where that has always been a thing. Like, I have to thrive. Like, I can't just, you know, like, sit around and wait. And YouTube has been taking longer than I expected to blow up. But I'm so passionate about it that I just keep going regardless. But like I said, passion don't pay the bills, babe. And I don't want to just keep sitting there twiddling my thumbs like, today's the day I'm going to blow up. Today's the day my channel is going to grow. Today's the day I'm going to hit 100,000, like 10,000, 5. No. And I watched all those videos. Like, do this if you want to get monetized. How to get monetized in 3 weeks. How to get monetized and stuff. And I've done that. Like, I've done all the tips and tricks. Like, I've done the trendy videos. I've done, like, the catchy thumbnails. Like, I've done all of that, and I'm just one of those people that I do not want to be a clout chasing YouTuber. And what I mean by that is one of those people that was like doing, you know, like fake pranked and stuff like that. Like, I just wasn't doing it. Like, I wasn't gonna sell my soul and sell myself short. Like, I wasn't that desperate to make it. And maybe that's why it's taking longer, because I'm just not desperate like that. Like, babe, because I do have a degree to fall back on. But it's like I'm not doing fake videos. I'm not humiliating myself for views. Like, it's some of my videos that I took down because I thought they were cringy, because at the time, like I said, when I was 18, 19, I was so super hungry to make it. And I realized that, you don't want to do this. Like, you want to make it, but you don't want to make it like this. Like, this is not how you want to make it. This is not what you want to do. This is not what you want your legacy or impact to be on the internet. Like, you know. And some people do crazy things like that to blow up, right? And I don't knock nobody hustle, because people have bills. You know, people have bills, people have responsibilities. So it's one of those things where I totally understand it. Like, I totally get it. Like, I totally understand. I totally get why people do the stuff they do. I never try to judge people or knock people, because them bills ain't gonna stop. And sometimes people don't have people to depend on, or they don't have people to, you know, run back to. You get what I'm saying? Like, babe, I don't have nobody to pay my bills. I don't have nobody to run back to. Some people don't have parental support, or they don't have family support, and they have kids and they have responsibilities. So I don't like try to knock nobody for that. Like, babe, they have to make it. They got to do what they got to do. But I just knew that I'm so creative and I have a lot to offer, so I never wanted to sell myself short. And even in life, I'm so educated too, so I never wanted to sell myself short in that aspect either, right? But I also think that I've been raised to be so practical that if I'm not doing something, I just feel like a straight bum. Like, I have to be doing something. Like, I have to be doing something. I have to be working towards something at all times, and working like a lot. Like, even when it came to videos, like, I would beat myself up bad. Like, you should be filming every day. You should be dedicating such and such amount of hours to this. You need to be like, I used to be so hard on myself, right? And I don't want to fail, right? And I feel like, yes, let's be optimistic. Like, you're not gonna fail, but it may take longer than you expected. And do you really want to wait that time? Do you have that time to just be sitting around waiting for something to just blow up? Like, do you have that time? You know? So, hold on, y'all. I'm trying to make sure my makeup looks decent while I'm giving y'all this message. But, and like I said, I didn't come from a rich family, so a rich family will come from me. Like, or definitely a financially stable family. Like, I want to be financially stable, and I've always thought about that since a kid. Because I was watching my mom be stressed out about bills, and watch people be stressed out about bills. And even now, like, inflation is so horrible. And even like my aunt who makes 6 figures will be like, yo, I don't have no money left. Like, and my aunt has always made 6 figures. She's a project manager. So it's like she's always made 6 figures. She's always had a hefty salary. And she's like, yo, I don't have no money. Like, I've heard her say that, and that broke my heart. I even have a professor. I'm in a beauty supply store. This is like when this new beauty supply store around me had opened up. And I'm in a beauty supply store. And I keep looking at this lady like, yo, I know this lady from somewhere. But where do I know her from? It's either she does my hair, because that's it. Like, I don't have much, like, I don't go outside much. And that's because I've always been dedicated to my goals. School, like, no. Like, I'm one of those people that if my money's not right, my mind is not right, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not dating. I'm not talking to you. I will delete Instagram. I've done that before. I will delete TikTok. Like, oh no, babe. I have to lock in. Like, I have to get my mind right. Like, money is a big thing to me. So it's like, if my money ain't right, if I don't have a plan, if, you know, stuff ain't right, baby, like, stuff not good, stuff not right. If it's not right, if the money ain't right, I can't think. So I knew once I seen this lady, like, I don't know her from nowhere but school or something. I'm like, so I asked her finally after looking at her for like 5 minutes, like, I know you. She's like, I was thinking the same thing. And turned out it was my professor. My professor has a whole PhD, and she was working in the beauty supply store. And that's so sad, and that broke my heart. Like, this lady literally wrote my college recommendations, and there's nothing wrong with working in a beauty supply store. It's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, she has a whole PhD. I'm pretty sure that wasn't where she wanted to work, and she said, you know, I'm doing it for extra money. And I think that's so sad that people have to kind of forfeit their goals and their passions and sometimes their educational experience just for a job because you have to make money. And you know, I think that's so sad. So that's always been a reminder. Like, every time I would think to, like, okay, I'm gonna do what I'm passionate about, I would see somebody like that, or I would hear a story like that, and I would always it will always send me back to the practicality route. Like, girl, no, go get that job. Like, go get that job, go get that career, go get that degree. Stop playing around. Go get them recommendations. Go your ass back to school. Further your education. Get your education as far as you possibly can. And that was just always a big thing to me, like, my education, because I just cannot be a failure. Like, that will be suicide to me. Like, I just cannot fail. Like, I just don't like the idea of failure. I just don't want to be a failure, and I just don't want the things that I have done to be done in vain. Like, I don't want to not have nothing to show for myself, and I've been like that since I was young. Like, when it came to school, I was the best. Like, I tried to get the best grades. Always on honor roll since I was in like the 6th grade. I never played that. Always on a dean's list in college. Like, I never played that. Like, I was one of those people, and like slacking even in school, like, oh, I'll do my essay tomorrow. I was never that type of person. Like, no. Like, I've been like that since a kid. Like, if Friday come and I got homework, I'm doing all my homework on Friday. My homework is done by Friday evening. Like, I get home at 3 o'clock. By 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, my homework is done. My homework is done. People used to call me, you did the homework? Yeah. I never played that. My homework was always done. No matter what. I'm back in school now. My assignments is done. School started today. My assignments are done already. Set up and did all my discussion posts. I did all of it. Like, I've never played around when it came to my goals and stuff like that. And practicality. Like, I just can't let myself do it. Like, I can't let myself sink. And I've just always been one of those people, like, yo, that schoolwork is gonna get done, because I don't know, like, I just can't allow myself to, hold on, I'm sorry, I gotta focus on other. Like, I just can't allow myself to just sit around and depend on somebody, or just sit around and look up one day and it's like, girl, you halfway through your 20s, you at the end of your 20s, you don't have nothing to show for yourself. And it's not to say that life is going to be perfect, or because no matter what you do in life, it's always a catch-22. You don't know if you're going to make it. You don't know if that degree is going to work. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know. You could get fired from your job, laid off. We don't know, right? The world could disappear tomorrow. We don't know, right? But I've always just tried to make sure that I gave myself a little bit of stability, right? Even in this uncertain world, this crazy world, I always wanted to give myself like a little bit of certainty, right? Like, I just could never just surrender control like that to, like, oh, okay, because because I got to see that when you, like, even with growing up, like, when people feel like you don't have nothing, you can't always depend on people. People will treat you as such, like, oh, you don't have nothing, or you dependent on them. They will treat you as such, and they will make sure you feel it, like you're dependent on them, or financially abuse you. Like, I will watch that, like, even growing up. Like, it'll be times in my family where maybe my mom didn't have a car, and, like, you know, asking people for rides was so annoying. Like, her car would be in a shop or something, and people would act so funny. Like, my mother has always kept a job since she was 14, and she's always reiterated that to me. Like, yo, I've been working since I was 14. Like, had my own place, but by the time I was 19. Like, my mom always said that. Like, I was making like $17 an hour back in the 80s. Like, my mother has always, like, reiterated that to me. So I've always just kind of followed in my footsteps. My aunts always have went to work. My aunt could have like 300 hours of fucking PTO. She's going to work. Like, PTO, sick time, vacation time. She works for the city in New York. So she got mad time. She's like, I'm going to work. Like, my aunts and them have went to work sick, pregnant, hungover as teenagers, or like early 20s. Like, I'm going my ass to work. Like, so that's always just been my thing. Like, yo, I got to get up and get a job. Even when I was 16, like, I was always like applying. And if I didn't do that, I was doing odd jobs. Like, I'm going to clean this house for some money, or, you know, I'm going to help somebody with something and get some money, even if it's $20, $30 as a kid, even if it's $50. Like, I'm gonna do something to get money. Like, I've just always been that type of person. Like, I need to, like, I just cannot surrender all my control like that. Like, I've always had money. I've always had a, like, stash somewhere. Like, I don't know, even as a kid, like, I would be a little kid pulling out like little wads of cash. Like, I would save up my little money people gave me for my birthday and stuff like that as like a super little kid. That's like, girl, I ain't play that, girl. Like, I never played that. Keep quarters, nickels, I'm keeping this money. Like, I've just always been like that. Like, oh, no. Like, even when I was in school and I would get college refunds, I would save my money. And stuff like that. Like, I just never, like, I never played when it came to that. Like, I've just always been that person. Like, I'm gonna stay afloat. Like, I'm gonna get me some money some way, somehow. Even if it's a little bit, we gonna find us a way. So I just could never, like, even with YouTube, it's just like, I don't know. And I've been beating myself up these last 2 years. Like, I feel like you should be doing more. You should have your master's degree. You should be working on your doctorate right now. You should, like, and it's like, girl, you're 23 years old, and I have to tell myself that. Like, even when I've talked to my therapist, she be like, yo, at your age, I didn't have no degree. Like, I did not have no degree. I didn't have none of that. Like, girl, no. Oh my God. Like, I've always been that type of person. So I've just always been really hard on myself and just like really stressed out about my future. I got mascara all on my eyes, but I've always just been like that, very stressed out about my future, very much. I don't know what this look was. The video was more so for me to rub my mouth. I do want to put some rhinestones on my face, but I don't have no glue. Yeah, like, I've just always been that type of person where, I've just always been that type of person where it's like, I just will not allow myself to just like depend on somebody or just like surrender my control like that. Like, I have to have me some type of money. I've always been that type of person. Like, even when I wasn't driving, I would have to have money for cabs. Like, I just always have that like, I've just always been a person that has been scared of being inadequate financially. Like, oh, no. Like, I'm gonna do something, right? So I just could never focus on my passions enough because I've always thought about being practical. And even out of school, like, I feel so weird not being in school because I've always been in school since I was in pre-K, right? Like, I've always been in school, even took summer courses at one point. So I've just always, you know, in school. So it just feels really weird for me to not be in school. When I took my year off, it's always been really weird for me to just sit around. And I've just always been like that. Like, I don't know. But a part of me really wants to be a YouTuber. and not even just a YouTuber, but to just be my own brand. I do want to branch into other things eventually, and I don't want to speak too much on it right now, but I do want to branch into other things and get into other things. But in order to make money, you have to spend money. And it's like, if I'm at work, am I gonna have time to, what the hell did I just do with that pencil? Like, if I'm at work, am I gonna have time to focus on my passions, right? Like, am I gonna have time to do that? And it's so tempting when you see people, you know, you're like, yo, I'm 20 and I bought my dream car, I bought my dream penthouse. Like, damn, that sounds so sweet, and I want to do that, and I know I have what it takes, but I also can't sit here and just sit around and just be like, oh, all right. I can't just sit around and be like, oh, you know, I'll just depend on somebody else financially until this blows up. I'll just, like, I can't do that. Like, I just wasn't like that. Like, my mom never raised me to be like that, to just get comfortable like that. Like, oh, no. And people, you know, my mom used to always tell me the outside world gonna show you. So I've always just had that in my mind, where it's like, girl, I'm not, like, I'm not about to just sit here and depend on that. Like, oh, okay. And, oh, I'm just gonna, you know, drop out of school to be a YouTuber. I'm just gonna, like, forget all my goal. And you know how people is literally, like, everybody talking about this TikTok ban, and how a lot of people are like, damn, what y'all gonna do? You're gonna have to get a real job and all those things. Not to say, and influencing, I mixed this shit together. There we go. And people have, you know, been going crazy about this TikTok ban. And people were saying that, like, yo, you know, a lot of these creators, like, have degrees and stuff like that to fall back on. And that is important. Like, why do I have 2 lip glosses in here? Like, that is hold on, give me a second. I'm back. But like I said, with the TikTok ban, some influencers have been saying that, like, yo, you know, some of these people have degrees. Like, they have something to fall back on. It's not like this was their end all be all. But it did give them a chance to escape the workforce and actually make more money than they was making, right? And that's hold on, a very real thing, right? And like I said, I've been doing this for, I started my first video was when I was 16 going on 17. It was a back to school video, and then, like, I wasn't consistent, so I didn't get consistent. I didn't get consistent until 2020, for real, like 2020, 2021-ish. So I've been doing this for a couple of years, and yes, I have made progress, but not the type of progress that I have wanted. And I always say that, like, I'm so glad I did not just drop out of school. I don't know where I would have been if I did, but I'm so glad that I do have that background and I have that degree, because I have gotten job offers. So I am happy of that, though. Like, I'm happy that I do have that degree, and I'm happy that I do have something to fall back on, right? I like that. Like, it just makes me feel comfortable. But a part of me, like I said, I discovered how creative I was in undergrad, which I didn't know before undergrad. And I just hope that one day I can fully pursue my creative endeavors wholeheartedly. And I'm still gonna do it now. Like I said, I'm still 23. My mom isn't putting too much pressure on me to figure it out. Like, girl, give yourself grace. But I'm putting the pressure on myself. Like, I'm losing my freaking mind. I've been crying nonstop. Like, I feel like a failure. I want to be doing more. And it's like, everybody's been telling me, like, yo, you know how accomplished you was since you was 21? Like, babe, give yourself time. Give yourself grace. Give yourself a little bit of breather. Like, you've been in school since you was a kid. You've always thrived academically. Give yourself some time. But I have been losing my everlasting fucking mind. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I have been highly critical of myself. That Virgo is coming through. I've been highly critical of myself and very, 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 very much like mean to myself about stuff. Like, hold on. Very mean to myself about certain things. Like, you should have had this by now. You should have bought your first house. Like, I just have such crazy goals for myself. And sometimes they may be a little unrealistic. Like, girl, give yourself a break. But that's just how I've always kind of been. Maybe a little delusional. Maybe slightly. But I've just always been like that. Like, ugh. Like, I just can't depend on people. Like I said, I see how people will act when you have to depend on them. Or when people feel like you need a favor. Like my mom, ow, I just poked the fuck out of myself. My mom, she works at a facility. And she would say that, like, how, like, she works in a homeless shelter, and she would say, like, how sometimes her coworkers would straight be giving the people, like, cold food, talking to them any type of way. Why? Because they're homeless, and that's how they feel. Like, you don't have nowhere to go, because if you had somewhere to go, you wouldn't be here in the homeless shelter. And it was so mean. And my mom used to be wanting to put, like, hands on some of her coworkers, like, yo, like, what's wrong with you? Like, stop treating them like that. And that just always was in the back of my mind, too. Like, see, you can't be in that predicament. Not to say that dumb people put themselves in that predicament intentionally, but I've always just wanted to make sure that I tried to combat any type of financial strain or any type of financial inadequacy, because I don't want somebody to just treat me like that, you know? But hold on, y'all. Give me a second. Let me, hold on, put this back up. But yeah, that has always been like a concern of mine. That has always been like a thing of mine. Like, but yeah, like I've always been, like, that's just something that I've always just like thought about. Like, I don't know. Hold on, let me do my hair real quick. Okay. I finished my hair. I'm back. The lighting is changing. The sun is about to go down. But I say all that. But that was just my little spiel. That's what I just been on my mind. Like, I just want to make it, and just thinking about passion versus practicality. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. I know that it will all work out. That was just what was on my mind at the time. And forever will be on my mind, just practicality and a job. But I want to thank you guys for watching. This lip gloss looks so chalky now, but I had to redo my lip gloss. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you guys for being here. I will see you guys in my next video. And yeah, everything will work out. Everything will be okay in the end. But I just gotta panic first. But yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment down below. I love when y'all comment to me. Y'all comments always make me so sentimental, because y'all took time out of y'all day to acknowledge me. So I love when y'all comment. So comment down something below. It can even be an emoji. But I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for supporting me. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.